Welcome to Dr. Cindy Speaks, regular musings and reflections on politics, current events. Dr. Cindy Banyai is a mom and small business owner fighting for our water, our health, our community. She's running for the people of Southwest Florida, trying to flip Florida 19 from red to blue. Listen as she speaks truth to power.
All right. Hello and welcome, everybody. This is Dr. Cindy Speaks, and I'm your host, Dr. Cindy Banyai. And I am continuing with my commitment to support candidates fighting all over Florida to make sure that we save democracy and we break the Republican trifecta in Tallahassee. And I'm so excited here because we actually have another special election coming up for the State House. And we have an amazing candidate who's running for that special election coming up here in June, Dondre Wise. Thank you so much for being here, Dondre.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the invite. It's
Absolutely.
Always an honor.
I love talking to candidates and hearing about what's going on with them. So tell us a little bit about this special election.
Well, this special election came about due to Rutman Jr. dropping out of his seat to run for the Congress CD1. I took it upon myself to hop in the seat and, make change. It originally was supposed to, the race was supposed to be next year. So this year, the election date is actually June 10th, but the election cycle will be about a year, instead of 2 years. So it'll be a little different opposed to the regular election cycle. But this special election is great. It's a great chance for people to actually flip their ideology and flip their mindset to actually open up the horizon in Santa Rosa and Okaloosa counties to change. I think it's going to be great.
And so what was so amazing about this as well, and I just want to point out that this is the same area where the Congressional District 1 election, the special election was earlier this year, where Gay Vallemont moved that district 20 points in the Democratic direction and flipped Escambia County blue. Now, Dondre's running in the other two counties, but we made a lot of headway in those counties as well. And he was actually telling me how the special election in Gay Vallemont helped to open some of those doors and open the minds of the voters in there. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. With the Gay Vallemont campaign, I spent a lot of time with Gay on her campaign, and it actually pushed me further into running. Gay reached a lot of people that weren't touched before, or I should say weren't touched in a while. For a better word. She opened the eyes of many, even Republican people, to seeing that we're all in this together. And I think that's the biggest thing I want to hone in on this community, because, I feel like the other guy's agenda is to separate. And I feel like as a panhandle, we're small, we're big, mighty, but we're small, and we should stick together. I mean, people love Florida. People love the community. I think the people that are actually here right now get impacted, and it made them realize, hey, I have a say-so too. And I want to actually piggyback off of that. And I want to focus more on circling our immediate community and honing in on that.
Wow, I love that. So tell us a little bit more about you. So your background, what really got you involved in all this? Just tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I am a military brat. My dad did 21 years. I served in the military myself for about a year and a half before I got hurt. I was in the Navy as well. After I got out of the military, I spent a little bit of time doing electrical work. My father ended up passing in 2020, which made me move back to Florida. When I moved back to Florida, being a military brat, I saw a lot of equality, I should say, more so not the things that I seen when I came back to the Panhandle. I saw a lot of disarray. I saw a lot of dysfunction, and it made me get drawn to activism, something that I kind of did, but not really. I growing up, I cooked for the homeless. I cooked every Sunday at church. We gave away clothes to Goodwill instead of just throwing them away. We always would go give them the Goodwill. Um, just different various things like that, and
Really giving back to folks.
Giving back to folks, yes. It's kind of like my major background. And when my father passed, I kind of took a bigger step into the community, feeling it initially started off as filling a gap of my father passing, and then I eventually, healed, etc. Therapy. Another thing I want to hone in on, mental health, etc. Far as the community aspect goes. But to get back on topic,
we'll get to your issues next.
Yes, I did a community activism for about 4 or 5 years now, and I became I've been a Democrat since like 2016, but I didn't really say I was a Democrat. I always kind of, if you ever talk to Derek Scott, he'll tell you, I always kind of separated myself from you guys on that side. I was saying like, oh no, they're political, they're this, they're that, they're not actual progressive, they're not actual caring, they're not trying to change anything, and then I actually sat back and talked to people, and I learned that Democrats aren't so bad. They're people, they're not robots. And I became a full-fledged Democrat. That led me to becoming a state committee person. I voted in I had a part in voting in the Florida Democratic Party chairs and the board, etc. And then that led me to wanting to run. That actually pushed me even more to want to run, because I felt like it was a couple pieces missing within my own community. And it kind of all fell like dominoes. I kept telling Derek, I'm gonna do it. And he was like, just do it. And then I was like, all right, I showed him a screenshot, and I was like, I put my name in. He was like, okay, all right, blah, blah. And then they were like, special election. He was like, you got to refile. And I'm like, refile? I put my name in. And he's like, yeah, but you have to refile. And I'm like, but they know me. But so I refiled, and I stepped into it, and now we're here.
That's great. And I just want to say something that in reaction to what you said, because it's very similar to my experience as well. I wasn't like a full-fledged Democrat. In fact, I spent early part of my life as a Republican. I'd worked on Capitol Hill for Republicans and Democrats, right? And I worked during the era of bipartisanship. So it was like, we used to joke, like I used to tell people like the only difference between Democrats and Republicans is Republicans do more drugs and Democrats drink more. Like that was literally my in Capitol Hill. Very different today now, but I too was in the activist space, and I was doing a lot of community work, and I did bicycle and pedestrian stuff, and was really interested in making sure that my town was safe for me and my kids, right? And then I got pulled into politics once I realized that all of the work that activists and nonprofit groups, which is where the rest of my career has been, were doing was not as effective as it could be, because we kept coming up to political roadblocks. And that's your county commission, your city council, your state legislators. And I knew that I could do it, that if you step into that space, you try to remove those barriers for the other people who are doing the work. And I thought that was as important as the activist work as well. So I understand that hesitancy, because it does seem a lot of times from the outside that the partisan politics is it's gross. It's, there's a lot of stuff going on, but there's very important things that are happening that are really particularly within the parties. I mean, you have to have a party to be pretty effective to run in any office, and essentially, unless you're going to, throw $15 million of your own money into a race. Those of you that will get that reference, you'll understand what I'm saying. But there's the apparatus, the canvassing, the teams, the resources, the data that you don't get if you don't have that. And I think that what you see inside, and yes, you see that it's all just a bunch of people who want to make a change. It's a little less scary than like what you see on TV sometimes, right?
Right.
So, but let's shift focus to your issues. You've talked a lot about your community and what some of the gaps that you saw as you were canvassing and as you got involved. Talk a little bit about that and tell us what you want to achieve when you get to Tallahassee.
I want to start by I love community. I love community. I love community. I love community. The reason why I love community, that's my third policy, but I don't have an order in which the importance are. But I love community because that's my background. I feel like used to be sayings like it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a community to affect actual change, to get actual progress. And by community, I want to give town halls. I want to create meetings in which the regular citizens could actually get involved in decision making, or at least give an input or a suggestion, opposed to finding out these catastrophic changes to the community. And it's like, well, we didn't want that. And it's like, well, we thought y'all wanted. And it's like, why not know?
Ask.
Why not ask? Exactly. Why not ask what actually and learn and study what the community actually needs and wants, and what the community not only wants, needs, but what will make it prosper. Because sometimes we don't know what we need. That's why we go to doctors, etc. We have different outlets, and sometimes we don't know what we need. And I still want to give the voice back to the community.
Absolutely.
And then, to fall into that, while we're giving the voice back to the community, I want to educate, letting them know why things are the way they are. And doing that, I also want to have a fully funded education system. If you don't know,
funding education,
yeah,
you want to stop handing it to private corporations?
Yes, I feel like if people gather comprehension opposed to not knowing anything, then the morale, the simple thing as the morale of the community would change. You see these bigger economical cities, and the only difference between them and us is organization, education, housing. And that's my next point. Housing advocacy. I want to kind of control the insurance rate, of why it's so high. Maybe stop building an apartment complex in every piece of the land. Also, I want to lower the cost of living. Jesus, it's so high for no reason, and we're not tourists. We're not on vacation.
You live there.
We live here. I gotta go to grandma's house on Tuesday. I don't want. I talked to. I don't want to say her name, but I talked to one of the people canvassing, and I've heard this many times, but I actually encountered it for the first time. It was 2 weeks ago, because this weekend we didn't go because of Mother's Day. She said that her grandmother has to DoorDash because their rent went up again. And I'm like, how does your rent keep going up, keep going up, keep going? That's not something that should be a thing, you know? I don't understand it. And I, not understanding, I'm going to get some understanding. And with that transparency, I will give it to the community.
Yeah. Yeah. So we need, no one's grandma should be door dashing to pay their rent. I'll tell you that. That's something
like,
I think
I DoorDash myself, but I'm 26 years old.
Yeah.
I have encountered sketchy situations late at night where I'm like, should I not get out the car and drop this off? It'll be pitch black, dark, no street lights, no nothing. And most of the time it's been very either the person doesn't come out or it's like a very friendly person. They just stay really far from everything. Which I understand, you know, but as a 73-year-old woman who's taking care of their entire family and cannot work, then they have to decide to DoorDash to pay $1,500 for a 1-bedroom apartment.
No more grandmas doing DoorDash. That
No
should
more
be
grandmas
your
doing
new
DoorDash.
slogan.
No more grandmas.
No more, because we need to end. And you know what a lot of people have talked about as well is it's not only just, yes, we've had inflation that was coming from the supply chain disruptions that we saw in the post-COVID era, but it was also profiteering by companies, right? That were jacking up prices. And then now we got Trump in there playing yo-yo with tariffs, and which is making prices go up and down. And by the way, making it possible for companies again to jack up prices because we're expecting them to go up because of the tariffs and stuff like that. So we're getting into the same situation. So we're going to see inflation. So people are going inflation, and the companies keep jacking up the price because the people think the prices are going to go higher, and we're going to all pay for that. Working families are going to pay for that, and it's not right. It's just not right.
Not right at all. It's not right at all. And people have made it the norm.
Yeah.
And the way of life that we should be living is abnormal. And it's gotten to the point where let's forget about the colors. Okay, yeah, you're red, you're blue. This is affecting every last citizen.
Yeah.
Every last citizen. So let's get some actual change. I mean, if you voted for something and got the complete opposite, you should feel betrayed.
Yeah, right.
You should feel betrayed. I don't understand any other way of feeling. And that's why I also want to have town halls, because, you know, maybe I may do something and people may disagree, which I mean, you can't agree with everybody, but most of my decisions will be a vast majority of the community wants these things to happen. But you can't agree with everyone, but still the fact that it's so far out of the ballpark, and not in a good way. We're not talking about home runs. It's just not in the field. It's not in the field of play at all. It's
or they're not doing anything in Tallahassee, or they can't even pass a budget, right? They're going into an extended session after they had 3 sessions before the session, and then we've already had an extended session. Now we're going to extend it again because they couldn't do their one job, which is create a budget.
Right.
But it said they did things like roll back our ability to have citizen ballot petitions, right? And things like that, things that are, you know, make democracy less possible in the fascist state of Florida.
Yeah, it's blasphemy.
Yeah, it's horrible.
To say the least, I can't even think of a good word to say that's not negative. I don't know. When did we as legislators stop thinking of our constituents? When did we as legislators stop thinking of the community, the people that actually vote us in, and then is expecting to be reelected after what was done? I need, and it's not even it's not even on the legislation anymore. It's on us as a community. And I want to get into everyone's face and have an actual conversation because it's affecting every last one of us. And I believe if any and everyone in my county actually had a conversation with me, they would vote for me. Honestly speaking, there's not been, and I'm being completely transparent, this is not like some Hollywood stunt or something. Everyone that I've talked to personally, face to face, Republican, NPA, etc., after we've had our conversation, I've gotten their vote.
Yeah.
And it's not based off of merit, it's not based off of lies, propaganda, etc. It's based off of mere honesty.
Yeah.
Mere honesty. This is going on. This is happening. I can't do this, but here's what I can do.
Yeah.
Within my limitations, within my job as representative, I can do these things. These things can cause a chain reaction with this thing. See, all the big and bad things that happen far as funding, etc., I can combat that within my seat. At least try. I can make it hard as hell for anybody to mess with my counties.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to hope for, even if it's not me, for a representative, someone that will fight tooth and nail for me, just a regular old person.
Yeah. Yeah, that's important. And I think the answer when this change was 2012, when the Citizens United decision came down, or 2010, when the Citizens United's decision came down, and all these politicians were able to get money from development lobbyists and all sorts of stuff. And I do agree with you that I feel like they've forgotten the regular people. And I'm glad that there are folks like you who are running, stepping up, bringing the people back into the conversation and taking their thoughts and considerations to Tallahassee with you. So as we wrap up here, just give us a small parting message, and then of course tell us the details about how to vote, where to vote, and where we can find information about you.
Well, let's start with, you can find all the information about me on Dondre at Dondre Wise 2025.com. You can make contributions through there as well on my Secure Act Blue. A contribution to me is a contribution to you. I promise you, everything I do is for you. Also, my parting message, I want to say first, it's time to stop saying that you don't matter. It's time to stop thinking that your voice doesn't get heard. It's time to stop thinking that you don't make a difference. Every last vote matters. Whether you have a cousin, sister, brother, auntie, uncle, niece that can make a phone call, etc. Every single one of you matter, to me at least. And I want you to understand that. Vote wisely on June 10th. You could turn your vote by mail ballot in as late as May 29th by 5 p.m. Early voting starts May 31st and it lasts through June 7th. Please, please, please get out to vote. Vote wisely. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Oh, also, May 25th, Baghdad Community Center, Visual Thoughts is having a sunrise social. I will also use that as a meet and greet to come out and meet me if you have any and all questions. I will be there the entire time. So if you have any questions, it'll be bounce houses, face painting, a yoga instructor. It's a free event, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's Baghdad Community Center, May 25th. I want to also say thank you so much for having me on. I love you since I met you. You're an amazing person. And yes, Wise 25.
There you go. Wise 25. I love it. Thank you so much for our special election for Florida State House District 3, Dondre Wise. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget to check him out. And that was it DondreWise2025.com?
Yes, ma'am.
That's right. All right. Please check him out. If you can donate, these candidates, down ballot candidates, absolutely need your support. And boy, can they make a few dollars go a long way. We're not like these big races where money's falling from the sky. We don't have big PAC monies. Grassroots candidates and folks who are running for down ballot races do not have the type of big dollar funds coming in. So your contribution is going to go to things that really matter to make sure that we can get Mr. Wise here into Tallahassee to fight for the people of the Panhandle. Thank you so much for tuning in here. We do hope that you will visit us over at the Big Mouth Media website at bigmouthmediafl.com. You can subscribe to all of our shows there, see all of our great podcasts and articles, and you will be able to see this episode and all the other episodes of my show, Dr. Cindy Speaks. Thanks so much for being here, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Dr. Cindy Speaks. If you'd like to learn more about her, go to cindybanyai.com or connect with her directly at vote@cindybanyai.com. We love connecting with people.